Hare Krishna, Amarendra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Pranam, Prabhuji.
So it's a great opportunity for us to meet you again and hear from you. Thanks a lot for agreeing our invitation, Prabhuji. Last year you had come at the same time, and by your inspiration, we also did a lot of Srimad Bhagavatam sets during Bhadra Purnima. Actually, in fact, it is your contribution, so we are taking name of it. So thanks a lot, Prabhu, for agreeing our invitation and coming here and inspiring us in devotional service. I would request Kartikeya Prabhu to introduce Prabhuji, and then we will start off.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Haribo.
Jai. So, I don't think we need an elaborate formal introduction about His Grace Amarendra Prabhu, because all of you know him, and many of you are following him up. In fact, every single day, many devotees are watching Prabhuji's classes, and I feel so fortunate when they come and say that now we are watching Amarendra Prabhu's class. So some things which I would like to share about Amarendra Prabhu, so that we know about him. I was fortunate to have his association for 4 years when he was back in India. So at that time, I would hear many things about him from his parents. So right from his childhood, Prabhuji has been a very fired up preacher. So right in the school time, his mother was sharing once that when I guess third standard or something he was in, and he would make everyone in the school bus chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So he would be leading the kirtan, and all the other kids with their tiffin box out, they would be banging the tiffin box and they would be doing the kirtan. So right from that time, Prabhuji has been preaching, and he has been a very fired up devotee in even the school, college, every phase of his life. In fact, I remember during its college time, he would put tilak, kanthimala, and then he would go to school, and even during college. Obviously, he had to face a lot of problems because of that, but then he never compromised, never. And his sadhana has been so so intense. Some 4 or 5 hours of hearing and things like that, and chanting huge number of rounds, and whatever you all know through his classes. And now currently what Prabhuji is doing is so great. All over the world, Prabhuji is preaching all over the world. In fact, there are people whom I have personally met here in Bangalore that just by hearing Prabhuji, they have become devotees. They have not attended any sessions. They have just heard Prabhuji and they have become devotees. And now, after becoming devotees, are approaching the centers that we want association. And also there are foreigners from different parts of the world who have taken up chanting of 64 rounds by Prabhuji's inspiration. So it's our great fortune that Prabhuji has once again accepted our invitation, and he's back here to give a class on this amazing topic of Radhastami. So I would request Amarendra Prabhu that please take over and please start the session for today. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, dear Hari Kshetra Prabhu. Hare Krishna, dear Kartikeya Prabhu. I don't deserve any of this introduction. Whatever reflected glory that may be perceived is because of the presence of great source of inspiration above my head. And also it is, the saying goes, beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. So wherever there is affection, we naturally see good qualities there. Like the mother will always see good qualities in her child, even if her child is crippled in some way. So wherever there is affection, naturally the person ends up seeing good qualities because of mamata, because of possessiveness. And at the same time, so many superiors in the form of Siksha Guru, my most prominent Siksha Guru, Sripad Mukundatta Prabhu, and my very beloved spiritual master, Srila Guru Maharaj, Radha Govinda Maharaj. Both of their role in my life in holding Guru Karanadharam, in twisting my ear, is of impeccable, paramount importance. Also my parents, my other Siksha Gurus, Path Pradarshak Gurus, so many great senior Vaishnavas praying, blessing, offering best wishes. My family in my previous lives, they may have performed so many different sacrifices, and they may have performed last rites and Shraddha ceremony, saying that wherever the soul goes, there may be some, may he be blessed with some association of devotees. So according to the power of their prayers, the living being gets so many wonderful opportunities to make advancement. So whatever kind words were said, actually, they don't deserve, the Kali Yuga living entity doesn't deserve all of them. They're all coming from all directions. And we are just helplessly swept by that shower of blessings and prayers. So after that embarrassing introduction, I would like to embarrass myself further by speaking something on as lofty as Radha Tattva. So anyway, keeping all of that aside, happy Radhastami to everyone. Holy appearance day of, of Srimati Radharani. Very, very beautiful, wonderful occasion. More glorious than Janmashtami. Radhashtami makes Janmashtami more meaningful in our life because Krishna appears in this world to attract our hearts. But the way by which he attracts our heart is by mercy. And that mercy from Krishna's heart springs by the personality of Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Radharani's appearance on Radhashtami makes Krishna's appearance on Janmashtami more meaningful for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. In fact, Sripad Dinabandhu Prabhu from Vrindavan was yesterday speaking a very beautiful class here for ISKCON Atlanta and was mentioning a point that Janmashtami is actually the start of preparation of celebration of Radhashtami. Like Krishna is appearing on Janmashtami so that he can start with all of us the celebration for the appearance of Srimati Radhika. So this was a very beautiful insight that for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, this is very, very important occasion. There's only one occasion which is more higher in hierarchy than Radhashtami, and that is Sharad Purnima, the first Purnima of the Sharad Mas. Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj was mentioning in one class that Radharani is appearing, but the ultimate zenith of her appearance, the ultimate reason for her presence is to dance and sing very happily, very joyfully with Krishna in the Rasa Leela, and also introduce and invite all the living beings into this eternal dancing Sankirtan party of Radha and Krishna, which again comes through in this world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing party. So through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's singing and dancing, we enter the singing and dancing of Radha Krishna. So therefore, on the night of Sharad Purnima, Radharani's desire of dancing and singing with Krishna got fulfilled. And therefore, that night she can fulfill all of our desires also to get to the singing and dancing party of the Rasa Leela of Sri Rasaraj Sri Krishna. So therefore, Radharani's appearance today is marking a very significant, very holy, very auspicious presence in our life. Radharani appears only to bless all of us and pull all of us to the lotus feet of Sri Shyama Sundar. So having said that, I'll quickly chant Mangalacharana, and then for an hour or so, we can have some discussion, then we can break for questions and comments at the end. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So before I begin, I want to offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who by his causeless mercy and diligent endeavor spread the glories of Srimati Radharani far and wide in this dark age of Kali Yuga. He established so many deities with the name Radharani in that. Radha Sham Sundar, Radha Madhav, Radha Ras Vihari. So many wonderful, beautiful deities around the world, connecting everyone to the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika through deity worship, through service to Tulsi Devi and begging Tulsi Devi that Radha Krishna Seva Pabo E Abhilashi. Also, Srila Prabhupada very transcendently tricked us in singing the Gurvashtakam early in the morning. Why? Because the Falashruti, the fruit of chanting the Gurvashtakam in Brahma Muhurta, is Srimad Gurorashtakam etad uchchaihi Brahme Muhurte Pathate Prayatnat Yastena Vrindavananath Sakshat Sevaiva Labhya Janushanta Eva. If someone sings the Gurvashtakam, the Samsara Dava Nalalid Haloka prayers early in the morning in Brahma Muhurta, then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the Falashruti, the fruit, is that they will get the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna at the end of this life. So Srila Prabhupada is giving us all opportunities to get to the lotus feet of Radharani. Prabhupada is building temples, giving us very conducive environments where bhakti can be practiced. Nice, wonderful devotees with whom we can practice, deities in front of whom we can practice, and books on the basis of which we can practice. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada, who is guiding all of us in a very authentic, bona fide, systematic manner to the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Krishna. To that Srila Prabhupada, I bow down millions and millions of times. Then I bow down at the lotus feet of my very beloved Gurudev, Om Vishnupad Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad Srila Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, who was very kindly, very affectionately, very lovingly introduced me and pulled me into this very wonderful Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, where the focus is the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. I bow down at the lotus feet of all the Siksha Gurus and the ISKCON Guru Vrinda, who are all traveling far and wide, speaking the glories of Radharani. All of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who in their ripe old age, instead of sitting at home and relaxing, doing Om Shantihi, 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 they are going around giving Shantihi, Shantihi, Shanti in the lives of other conditioned souls. And last but not the least, I offer my obeisances at the feet of the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Thank you so much for kindly participating and blessing me with your auspicious presence. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. May by your kind prayers and best wishes, may the right words come at the right time, in the right spirit of glorification of Radha and Krishna, giving satisfaction to our ears and bringing in purification to the heart of the servant speaker. So Sripad Ramanujacharya's dear disciple by the name Kuresh. We have all heard the glories of Kuresh and his Guru Nishtha, very deep conviction at and affectionate love, devotion at the lotus feet of his Gurudev Sripad Ramanujacharya. This Kuresh Acharya has written a few verses. They are all put together as the Artha Trana Parayana Stotram, which means that stotra, that stuti, that glorification, which is Artha Trana Parayana, which is focused at relieving one from helpless distress of separation from the Supreme Lord. So Kuresh, the disciple of Sripad Ramanujacharya, has composed the Artha Trana Parayana Stotra. And in that, there is one verse which is very dear to my heart, which has an inclusion of many pure devotees in one line, and speaks about Krishna's mercy to all of them. Vatsalyad pradana samayat artharthinirvapanat audaryat aghashoshanat aganita shreya pada prapanat sevya shri patireva sarva jagatam ete cha shat sakshina Prahladascha Vibhishanascha Karirat Panchalya Halya Dhruvaha. It's a very beautiful verse. It speaks about Krishna's mercy. So Kuresh is actually trying to blackmail Krishna, blackmail the Supreme Lord, that you are so merciful. Look, you have given mercy in 6 ways. And he has given 6 examples to prove those 6 ways. What are the 6 ways? He says, Vatsalyat, you have given mercy in affection. And the example for that is Prahlad. We will first name all of them and then we will discuss very briefly all of them. So, Vatsalyat, the example for affection, as a father you appeared out of mercy, affectionate love, parental love. The example is Prahlad. And second, Abhaya Pradana Samayat, at the time of giving fearlessness, to benedict fearlessness. So, whom did the Supreme Lord make fearless? Which devotee did the Supreme Lord make fearless? Vibhishan. Abhaya Pradan. He made him Abhayam. In the Ramayana we can see Sakrideva Prapanno Yastavasmiti Sayachate Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai Dadami Etad Vratam Mama. When Vibhishan bowed down to Sri Ramachandra, some of them opposed, but Sri Ram said, no. I have promised that if anyone offers me obeisances and says, oh my Lord, from today I am yours, what happens? I will make him fearless. Abhaya Pradhan. So first, he showed his mercy through affectionate parental love to Prahlad Maharaj as Narasimhadev. And second, Abhaya Pradhan. He gave fearlessness, Abhaya, Abhayam. Abhayam sattva samshuddhim jnana yoga vyavastitihi dhanam damascha yajñascha swadhyaya stapa arjavam ahimsa satyam akrodha tyaga shantira paishunam daya bhuteshva lolupam mardavam hirachapam. The Supreme Lord has said Abhayam, to be fearless, is the first transcendental quality to develop. We are all afraid of death. But some acharyas have even laughed at the point of death. We will come to that in a few minutes. So, this is the second example. Third, Artharti Nirvapanat. He showers his mercy also by taking away our distress. And who is the example for that? Karirat. Karirat means, Kari means elephant and Rat means king, best. Vishnu Ratena Samprishto Bhagavan Badarayani. So Swarat, you see, Swarat means the self-illuminated, self-radiant king. Self-appointed king also. Swarat, Rat means king. So Kari means elephant, Rat means king. Kari Rat means the king of elephants, that's Gajendra. So Artharti Nirvapanat, the third form of mercy is by taking away the distress. Artha Bhav, helpless calling. When we are helpless, that helplessness he takes away. And the example of that is Gajendra. The fourth example given is Audaryat. He shows mercy by being very, very magnanimous. He just looks at something and then makes that small thing into a big thing out of the melting of his heart. And the example of that, Audaryat, is Draupadi. Draupadi was in a precarious situation. It was happening in a small place, but Krishna helped her and gave a different angle of vision of glory to that pastime. So that is Audaryat. Out of the melting of his compassionate heart, he showers mercy. Audaryat. Example is Panchali, Draupadi. And fifth is Agha Shoshanat. Agha means sin. Like we know Aghasur, the demon who personified sin. Therefore, Krishna is called Agadamana Yashoda Nandano Nandasono Kamala Nayana Gopi Chandra Vrindavanendra Pranata Karuna Krishna Ityaneka Swarupe Tvai Mamarati Uchchaihi Vardatam Namadheyam. Rupa Goswami in his Namashtakam has very famously called Krishna by many names. He said Agadamana, Yashodanandana, Nandasunu, Kamala Nayana, Gopi Chandra, Vrindavana Indra, Pranata Karuna, Krishna. Like that he has given 8 names. But the first name he says is Agadamana, he who subdued the sinful demon Aghasur. Agadamana. So agha means sin. So agha shoshanat. He also showers his mercy by taking away sinful reactions and sinful activities. The sinning propensity, he takes it away and he showers his mercy. And the example for that is Ahalya. She who came from the stone manifested into a very beautiful heavenly form. And the sixth example given is Aganita. Gana means count. Aganita means unlimited, countless. Shreya, pada prapanat. Shreya pada means opulent position. Aganita, unlimited glory as far as material opulence is concerned. Prapanat, he offers it. And the example for that is Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaj wanted unlimited material prosperity, and Krishna showered mercy by giving there. So 6 ways are given by which the Supreme Lord showers mercy. So let's go one by one, and very quickly we will discuss. So Vatsalyat, the example of Vatsalya is Narasimha for Prahlad Maharaj. Well, Prahlad Maharaj went through a lot in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. We see Shukdev Goswami mentions in many explanations. There are back-to-back verses in the 7th canto which talk about the different things that Hiranyakashipu employed to kill Prahlad Maharaj. He threw Prahlad Maharaj from the top of the cliff. He threw Prahlad Maharaj into a pit of very hungry snakes, poisonous snakes. He threw Prahlad Maharaj at the stampede of a herd of mad elephants running so that his head could be crushed and he could die. Then he also threw him into a cage, or let's say an open area with hungry lions. He also threw him into fire. He pushed and attacked him with very sharp weapons, very sharp spears. He had superiors in the form of teachers, Shanda and Amarka, torture him emotionally for speaking the right thing. When nothing worked, he was administered poison through his mother. It is described in the Narasimha Puran that Hiranyakashipu went to Kayadu and said, the father is failing. Now the mother must succeed. I want you to make kheer, sweet rice, and administer poison there, mix poison and give it to Prahlad, because the child will always trust the mother more than the father. So I want you to do this. And Kayadu tried to resist too much, but then Hiranyakashipu, by the movement of his eyebrow, he could shake the whole heavenly kingdom. In fact, all the 33 crore, 330 million demigods were all busy cutting vegetables in the kitchen of Hiranyakashipu. That's how much control he had. So Kayadu could not say much, but she mixed the poison and gave that kheer to Prahlad. And when Prahlad looked in, he saw in the milk ocean, the kheer looked like the milk ocean. He saw his worshipable Lord Mahavishnu resting on that milk ocean. And Prahlad drank, and all that poison went away. Why? Because we know in the milk ocean, when the poison comes, Lord Shiva comes and takes it away. So in this milk ocean, when the poison rose, Lord Shiva came and took all of that away. And what remained was the Amrit, which came at the end of the churning of the milk ocean in the 8th canto. So like that, very poetically here the Acharyas explain, the milk ocean of that kheer had only Amrit, the nectar of Krishna Bhakti. And when Prahlad drank, he got electrocuted, completely paralyzed in Krishna Bhakti. He was stunned. And in one moment he would erupt in happiness, and one moment he would cry in separation. And whoever came in touch with him, they were all electrocuted and touched by this wave of Krishna Bhakti. Finally, when Hiranyakashipu had no way to go, he asked Prahlad, where is your Supreme Lord? He said, he's everywhere, my dear father. You show me a place where he doesn't exist. This is the nature of pure Vaishnavas. They can see Krishna in all circumstances, at all times, in all places. They never lose connect with the vision of Sri Krishna. Even when they see water, they remember Krishna. When they see sunlight, they remember Krishna. Srila Prabhupada once in the early days was told to give a class, and there was no Vyasasan, because in the 1965 ISKCON was instituted. 1966, temples began and preaching started exploding. And when in the initial days Prabhupada had to give class, disciples did not know how to welcome the spiritual master. So one day he sat on the floor and he gave class. Later, when they got to know, they apologized. Oh, Prabhupada, please forgive us. We made you sit on the floor. And Prabhupada said, no, actually it was very nice, because the floor is actually the lap of Sri Krishna. And when you put me on the Vyasasana, you're distancing me from the lap of my father. But that day, very happily, like a child, I sat on the lap of my father. So Prabhupada saw Krishna in all circumstances. So in that way, Hiranyakashipu could not see Krishna anywhere, including when the pillar broke and Narasimhadev appeared, Hiranyakashipu could not see. But Prahlad could see the Supreme Lord in the pillar. Hiranyakashipu asked the pillar for a specific reason, because he was the one who physically, personally constructed the whole palace. So he knew that inside the pillar there is no God, because he himself stacked all the columns in the pillar and the palace, all the columns and the pillars in the palace, and he orchestrated. He had a group of chief architects who planned the whole city, the whole kingdom, not just the palace. So he was sure what the ingredients were in his own palace. So he asked, what about this? Prahlad wasn't even there when the pillars were made. So Hiranyakashipu had this abhiman, this pride, that I definitely know the contents, the external material contents of this pillar better than you, because you were not even in this world, in this body at that time. But this is the difference between the visions of a pure devotee and a demon. The demon cannot see Krishna even in the deity when Krishna is appearing. So when Narasimhadev appeared, that's like the deity appearing. You see, Narasimhadev appeared from stone. So similarly, deity appears from marble or stone. We carve the deity, or if Jagannath, then out of wood. And someone could say, oh, how can the pillar have God? It's the same mentality by saying, how can God be in this wood? How can God be there in this marble? So that is Hiranyakashipu mentality of not being able to see Krishna or the Supreme Lord even when he manifests. And Prahlad's vision is to see Krishna even in the pillar when he's not manifest, right? So Narasimhadev appeared not to kill Hiranyakashipu, but only to protect his dear devotee Prahlad Maharaj. Vatsalyad. Satyam vidhatum nijabhritya bhashitam vyaptim cha bhuteshu akhileshu chatmana adrishta tatyad bhutarupam udvahan stambhe sabhayam na mrigam na manusham. Srimad Bhagavatam describes the Supreme Lord came into that pillar. Only Satyam Vidhatum. Because his dear devotee said he is there, therefore Narasimhadev entered. He said Narasimhadev wasn't there, and Prahlad guessed. Prahlad just pointed and said, and to make his words come true, Narasimhadev entered the pillar. Bhagavatam describes. So Vatsalyam. He's so merciful. He has such a big heart. Narasimhadev has such a big heart. You see, behind those sharp nails is the soft lotus palm. The nails ripped Hiranyakashipu, but the soft lotus palm protected Prahlad. So similarly, behind Narasimhadev's Ugra Bhav, his terrorizing mood, is the soft heart of the father, where he smelled the head of Prahlad while keeping him on his lap and embraced him and said, please forgive me, son, that I came so late. Prahlad Maharaj said, you always came. This time you came in such a way that everybody could see. But you have always been coming. Otherwise, how is it possible that I could be thrown from the top of the cliff and I would be protected? I saw your hand in all circumstances. Therefore, Shukdev Goswami says, Krishna Graha Grihitatma. This Prahlad Maharaj was such that he could see Krishna's hand in everything. Krishna Graha Grihitatma. You see, sometimes in the astrological chart, you say that this person is Graha Grastha. He is controlled by Saturn. He is controlled by Rahu. He is controlled by, he has Mangal Dasha. He's a Manglik. He has Mangal Graha in a 7th house of marriage, etc. So you see the astrologers, the Jyotish Shastrajnaha, those who are very learned in Jyotish Shastra, they will say that this person is controlled by a Graha. But Shukdeva Goswami says Prahlad was controlled by a very specific Graha. Krishna Graha Grihitatma. He was controlled by a Graha, a planet called Krishna. And therefore, Vatsalyam. Out of love, the Supreme Lord appeared. So this is the first example of Vatsalyam. He showers his mercy in the form of parental affection. Very deep, profound affection. And the example is Prahlad. Second mention that Kuresh mentions in this verse is Abhaya Pradhan Samaya. So Abhaya Pradhan. The Supreme Lord gives fearlessness, and the example given is Vibhishan. It's interesting. The Supreme Lord Sri Ram, who can be the solution in the life of problems for all of us, he himself is acting as if his life is filled with problems and is begging solution from people around. This is very fascinating. The Supreme Lord in no incarnation begs help from his devotees. No incarnation. Even in Krishna Leela, he goes around destroying Agasur, Bakasur, Dhenukasur, Vatsasur. He doesn't depend on his friends. Please save me. He doesn't do that. But in Rama Avatar, Lokabhiramam Ranarangadhiram Rajiva Netram Raghuvamshanatham Karunya Rupam Karunakarantam Shri Ramachandram Sharanam Prapadhye Mata Ramo Matpita Ramachandraha Swami Ramo Matsakha Ramachandraha Sarvaswam Me Ramachandro Dayalo Nanyam Jane Naiva Jane Na Jane Shri Rama Rama Raghunandana Rama Rama Shri Rama Rama Bharatagraja Rama Rama Shri Rama Rama Ranakarakasha Rama Rama Shri Rama Rama Sharanam Bhava Rama Rama. This Rama avatar is such that it is a Karuna avatar. This Ramayana is Karuna Leela. It is meant only to melt our hearts. Our hearts are so hard like a stone that Ram comes in this world and displays such impeccable, unprecedented, unparalleled pastimes that anyone in this world can relate and feel, oh, my Lord is going through so much suffering. Oh, look, my Lord, who was supposed to be, who would have his Abhishek, Rajya Abhishek, he is kicked out of the position. Not just that, he can't even live in that palace, can't live in that kingdom, can't live in any village neighboring Ayodhya. He has to go into the forest. He should not have any arrangement for his stay. He should not have any arrangement for his food. Imagine that Narayana, who feeds the whole creation, who by his breathing, inhaling and exhaling, universes are coming out of his pores, and he's feeding all of them. The Supreme Lord can spot even a black ant on a black rock in a black well on a black night and feed that ant. He doesn't forget. We cannot see a black ant even on the floor sometimes. But Ram, the Supreme Lord, can see a black ant on a black stone in a black well on a black night, and he feeds the ant accordingly. He does not give the food of an elephant to an ant and the food of an ant to an elephant. He gives the ant the food of an ant. He gives the elephants in the African jungle the food of elephants. He gives everyone according to their capacity. Think about the breast milk of the mother. It is just perfect for the child who's just appeared. Who decides the temperature of that milk and the consistency of that milk and the taste of that milk? Krishna is feeding the whole creation. But when he is pushed into the forest, he has to make his own effort for building a house and collecting water and food. And amidst all of that, his dear consort, his eternal wife, Mother Sita, gets kidnapped. The 10-headed Ravana, through cheating, by appearing as a sadhu, tricked Mother Sita and takes her around to Lanka. And Jatayu gives up his life saving Mother Sita. Then Sri Ramchandra goes crying, begging everyone, have you seen Sita? Looks at the trees and the birds and looks at the sun. And then by that time the clouds cover, looks at the clouds and talks to the moon, talks to Mother Earth, talks to Vayudev. You are all Sakshi. There are 13 Sakshis given in Shastra. The directions, Disha, all of you are answerable. Please tell me. Ram goes through these motions to churn our emotion so that we can relate. Oh, I am in suffering in this world and my Lord is also suffering. So then two persons who are going through the same problem, they become very close to each other. Two people going to the same destination in the same train, they start talking and they may exchange their cards and exchange their numbers. So the Supreme Lord, to attract our hearts, he's coming in this world and he is seeking our affection, our devotion. And he starts off by seeking help and then goes to Kishkinda and begs help from Sugriva and his camp. He's begging help from all of them to build a bridge, begging them, please help me get Mother Sita. So in that endeavor, he is giving shelter to everyone. Hanuman in the Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, he says, Na janmanunam mahatana saubhagam na vak na buddhi na akriti tosha heto. My Lord, I cannot offer you anything. Nothing can I offer. Na janmanunam, I don't have aristocratic birth. Mahatana saubhagam, I don't have bhajan, austerity of past life. Na vak, I don't speak properly. Na buddhi, I am not intelligent. Na akriti, I can't even offer you a good body of beauty. Na akriti tosha hetu. For your tosha hetu, for the purpose of pleasing you, I cannot offer you anything. Still, my Lord, and more importantly, vanaukasam, I can't even offer you clothes because I am a monkey, and I can't offer you home because I live in the forest. Chakara sakhye bata Lakshmanagraja. Still, it is astonishing that the older brother of Lakshmana, Lakshmanagraja, Chakara sakhye, he befriended all of us and accepted us on equal level. So in this endeavor, the Supreme Lord has uplifted the vulture in the form of Jatayu, has uplifted bear and other monkeys, has uplifted sparrows and squirrels, has uplifted so many different species by including them in the attempt to assist in his pastimes. When the math teacher in this world is teaching the student and says, yes, 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 8 plus 8 is 16, 16 plus 16 is 32. It's a one-way traffic, and the child is being taught. But imagine if the teacher sits with the child and says, I'm stuck with a problem. I don't know what 4 plus 4 is. And the student says, oh, teacher, 4 plus 4 is 8. And the teacher says, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, thank you so much. You helped me. Now the student feels that, oh, I could also contribute in some way in the life of my teacher. And their hearts become closer. The child's heart opens up in affection that, oh, my teacher is such that I can also reciprocate to my teacher. It doesn't have to be a monologue. It can be a very beautiful dialogue. So the Supreme Lord is always helping the jivas from one side as Ram is coming and seeking help. And when the jivas offer service, their hearts fuse together. So in this attempt, Abhaya Pradana Samaya Artharti Nirvapanat, Quresh is mentioning that Sri Ram is so merciful that out of his kindness of his heart, what he did, he accepted even a demon as Vibhishan. Vibhishan was a very great devotee, but he appeared in the demoniac clan. The Supreme Lord does not see what the popular vote are, what popular votes are, because in the popular votes, some camps said you should reject Vibhishan when he came to take shelter of you. The other camp said, no, you should actually kill him. He's like, like the modern day cancer. Don't let it spread, just finish it off. The third camp said, no, actually befriend him and cheat him. You can take secrets out and send him as a spy, and then we will finish him off. But however, Sri Ram was very kind to hear the words of Hanuman, who said, my Lord, you should accept him. The others said, no, it's not possible for a mango to grow in a neem tree. When Kumbhakarna, Shurpanakha, Ravana, etc., the other brothers, how can Vibhishan be so good while others are all bitter like neem leaves and neem fruits? How can he be a mango? He must also be duplicitous like Ravana. He also appeared like a sadhu, but he was a demon. So my Lord, don't accept him. But Hanuman said, my Lord, you should accept him. And Ram accepted, embraced Vibhishan. Vibhishan fell at the feet, and Ram picked him up, pulled him up, and embraced him to his heart and said, oh Vibhishan, what to speak of you? Even if Ravana comes here and offers his obeisance, even one of his 10 heads, I will accept him also. Like that. Sri Ram is so kind and so loving. So this is the second example. He gives mercy by taking away all of our fear. Vibhishan had fear whether or not I will be accepted. Ram made him Abhaya. And Ram pronounced, not just Vibhishan, anybody who offers obeisance to me, I will make them fearless. So this is the second way Quresh explains how the Supreme Lord gives mercy. The third way he gives mercy is Artharthi Nirvapanat, is by taking away all the distress. And the example for that is Karirat or Gajendra. We know Gajendra was caught by the crocodile, and they had a fight in that water for a long, long time. This is interesting. Prabhupada explains in the purport in the 8th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, in the section of Gajendra, that Gajendra represents a devotee. And the crocodile represents Maya. You see, if the crocodile came out of water and fought Gajendra on land, then the elephant Gajendra can kill the crocodile very easily. But because water is the territory for the crocodile, and Gajendra went into the territory of the crocodile, it was easy for the crocodile to twist and turn the feet of Gajendra. On land, Gajendra could have killed the crocodile. But in water, Gajendra was losing home ground advantage, and the crocodile was gaining home ground advantage. You see, in cricket, you have this concept of home ground advantage. When there are two teams battling each other, you also have to see whether they are playing, the place where they are playing is the home ground for this team, or it's a neutral venue. So similarly here, Prabhupada explains that Gajendra went into the home ground advantage, the water, the comfort zone of the crocodile. Similarly, Gajendra, like living being, is stuck in the water body of this material world where the crocodile of Maya is chewing into our flesh and we are battling. Sometimes people ask this question, how is it possible that Gajendra and the crocodile could battle for 10,000 celestial years? Actually, that is nothing. The living being, like Gajendra, has been battling the crocodile of Maya in the water of this material world for billions and billions of years, what to speak of 10,000 celestial years. But Gajendra learned a very beautiful point at that point, or he revived points that he had learned in his previous life and is teaching us a beautiful lesson. Gajendra did not think, once I am free from the jaws of the crocodile, then I will remember the Lord. Then I'll offer him something. No. Being in that situation, sthane sthitaha, whatever best he could offer the Supreme Lord, he offered. He picked up a lotus and threw it so that the Supreme Lord can accept the lotus. Gajendra did that. So the lesson for all of us is, when we are stuck in the crocodile jaws of problems in the water of this world, we don't have to wait to get out of that problem so that we can associate with the devotees, so that we can start hearing Hari Katha, so that we can start chanting japa and doing kirtan in the association of devotees. Sometimes when people don't come very regularly, you ask them, we haven't seen you for a long time. You say, oh, what to do? There's so many problems in my life. My daughter is not getting married, or the son lost job, or my wife had health problems, and we give so many different, oh, I had problems with the job, I had problem with money, or my business crashed. We give so many different reasons. But Gajendra is teaching us, the jaws of the crocodile may be different for different people. It could be different parameters. But being in that situation, take the best lotus that you can in that water and offer it to Krishna with tears and with words. And then the Supreme Lord will come. He will leave his eternal abode and he will come and help Gajendra. So we have to take whatever best we can in the water of this world in the form of lotus flowers and offer it to Krishna very sincerely and cry and call out. Iti gopya pragayanta pralapantyascha chitradha ruruduhu suswaram rajan Krishna darshana lalasa. It is described that when the gopis in the middle of the night lost Krishna from their sight, they cried and called out to Krishna, and Krishna appeared back in their assembly. So similarly, now we have lost Krishna, we don't find him. Gajendra had lost Krishna, he couldn't find him. But how did he make Krishna appear? With tears of sincerity and by calling out, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Gajendra called out to the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord appeared. Narayana Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. He called out to Narayana. And some acharyas describe that the Supreme Lord came flying to Gajendra, and he flew faster than Garuda to help Gajendra. And in this way, Gajendra's appeal, Gajendra's call becomes historic in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So if we want Krishna to take away distress in our life, we should call out to him. And that's the third way how he expresses his mercy. Fourth way, Audarya. The example of that compassionate nature is Draupadi. Now it's interesting that Krishna put Draupadi through a very heavy test. Agre kuruna matha pandavanam dushasanena ritavastra kesha Krishna tadakrosha dananyanatha govinda damodar madhaveti. In that Kuru Sabha, Agre Kurunam, in the middle of that Kuru Sabha, Atha Kuru, Agre Kurunam, Atha Pandavanam. The Kauravas on one side and the Pandavas on the other. Dushasanena Rita Vastra Kesha. Dushasan was pulling the Vastra, the cloth, and Kesha, the hair of Draupadi. At that time, Krishna is another name for Draupadi, not because she is dark in complexion, but because she is very attractive. And she is Krishnamayi. She's dipped in Krishna Bhav. So therefore, the feminine word, instead of Krishna, the word used is Krishna with a longer A. Even Radharani is called Krishna. Even Yamuna is called Krishna. So any Mataji, any female associate of the Supreme Lord, is completely dipped in Krishna consciousness. and therefore is very attractive by her devotion, could be called Krishna. So Krishna showed his compassionate nature in the Kuru Sabha. How he showed his compassionate nature in the Kuru Sabha? That Draupadi was begging for help and she called out to the Supreme Lord. At that time, he who appears as Matsya Kurma Varaha Narasimha, that same incarnation, Keshavadrita Kurma Sharira, Keshavadrita Haladhara Rupa, Keshavadrita Kalki Sharira, that same Keshava, Sri Krishna, Keshavadrita Vastra Sharira. He came in the form of cloth and protected Draupadi and embraced Draupadi. You don't worry, I am there for you. Very interesting. Krishna is so merciful that in his Braja Leelas, he stole the clothes of the gopis. He stole away their sari. Why? Because in the future, he knew there'll be Draupadi who would need sari. So he took it from the gopis and gave it to Draupadi when the time was right. And also the gopis of Vrindavan, their glory goes higher, that they were so kind to offer all their sari to protect one devotee from disgrace. So this is also Vaishnav Seva. So we should never criticize Krishna for the Chir Haran or the Vastra Haran Leela. The gopis were very kind to give their saris, saying that Krishna in the future, there will be Draupadi who will call out helplessly, please give all of our saris. So all their saris, the gopis that they had given, that was tied end to end, and Dushasana was pulling, but it never ended. So that went on and on and on. That sari all comes from the gopis of Vrindavan. This is what one of the acharyas, the commentators to the Srimad Bhagavatam, he writes. So Krishna is so kind to protect one devotee. He had already planned while being in Braja, while performing his Vrindavan Leela, he thought of protecting Draupadi. Draupadi is very dear to Krishna's heart. He has come so many times to help Draupadi. Even during the Akshaya Patra, Draupadi needed help from the wrath, from the futuristic anger of Durvasa Muni. When Durvasa Muni with 60,000 disciples came there, and the pot, the Akshaya Patra given by Surya Dev to Draupadi was empty. So Draupadi, she called out to Krishna, and Krishna came, just took one grain, and Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam. The whole world became satisfied just by that one grain. So Audaryat, he showed his very compassionate nature by protecting Draupadi. And Krishna was somewhere else, and Draupadi was calling somewhere else. But Yatra Gayanti Madbhaktaha Tatra Tishtami Narada. I go where my devotees sincerely call out my names. So much so that in the Shastra there are verses where Krishna has said, that call of Draupadi, Govinda Dwaraka Vasin, oh Krishna, oh Govinda, oh Dwaraka Vasi, that call of Draupadi, Krishna is saying in his own words, in Sanskrit verses in the Puranas, that, oh Arjuna, how can I tell you, says Krishna, that call of Draupadi rings in my ear and drowns me in debt. I will never be able to repay Draupadi for that helpless call of devotion with which she called me. I am drowning in debt out of love for her. So this is the fourth way by which Krishna helps. He helps the devotee and pre-plans, even if they have to go through a dark tunnel to show lessons to the outside world. Krishna is waiting at the end of the tunnel as bright sunlight to embrace the devotee. The fifth way how Krishna showers mercy is Agha Shoshanat. He can take away all of our sins also. Krishna has said, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. Do not fear. I can take away all the sins. Past sins, present sins, future sins, fructified sins, non-fructified sins, prarabdha, aprarabdha, kuta, bija, everything I can uproot. You don't worry. In the Bhagavatam also it has been mentioned that other processes of bhakti, they can destroy the tree of sin, but the root of sin underground is still present. So when the rain of favorable atmosphere comes in, then those seeds of a sinful tendency may sprout again, and again you can have trees of sin. But the way by which even the roots of sin can be taken away, Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva parayana agham dhunvanti karsneya niharamiva bhaskaram. The 6th canto, 1st chapter, text 15, Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukdev Goswami mentions that Krishna Bhakti is so powerful that it can uplift, it can take away not just the sinful reactions, it can take the sins away, and it can take the sinning tendency, the sinning mentality away. This is the power of Krishna. So we see that again in Ramchandra's pastimes. The example for Agha Shoshana is Ahalya. So Ahalya had committed a sin of getting very close to Indra. Of course, Indra had come in disguise as Gautam Rishi, the husband of Ahalya. Gautam Rishi had gone for the bath, sacred bath, and Indra came to enjoy the presence of Ahalya. He came as Gautam Rishi. So when Gautam Rishi came, he saw that the supposed Gautam Rishi was embracing Ahalya, and Ahalya could not understand. So Gautam Rishi cursed Ahalya that you're such a stone-like lady. You are without consciousness. How can you be so stone-hearted to cheat your husband like this? And at the same time, you're stone. Why? Because stone has no consciousness, very little consciousness, Prabhupada says, almost like zero. So you are touching another man and you don't even know the difference between touch of your husband and touch of another man. Just because he looks like my husband, looks like me, doesn't mean he is me. Because you don't have this viveka buddhi, discriminatory power, I curse you to become stone. But then when she begged mercy, said that, oh, I was helpless, I did not know. Gautam Rishi said, you don't worry. I will also give you a benediction that when the Supreme Lord Sri Ram will walk through this place and he places his lotus feet on you, then you will get your original Swarup back. So therefore, Ramchandra, during his pastimes, he placed his lotus feet on the stone, and the stone sprung up in a divine celestial form as Ahalya. So therefore, when Supreme Lord Sri Ram wanted to cross the river, and the boatman Kevat, he wanted to take Sri Ram on the boat. Sri Ram was ready to take the help of the boatman. So Kevat at that time, he said, my lord, I cannot take you inside like this. I have heard the story where you placed your lotus feet on a stone and became a girl. I already have one daughter and I can't get her married. Now, if you, with your lotus feet, place your lotus feet in my boat will become the second daughter. I can get her married off either, because I can't get my first daughter married off in the first place. And secondly, this boat and this boating service is the only way by which I maintain myself. Now, if you step in and make, just like you made Ahalya, like from the stone, you made her into a woman. If you make the boat into a woman, I'll have two problems. I'll have an extra daughter, and second, I'll lose my livelihood. Therefore, my lord, I have to make sure that the dust from your lotus feet is first collected and scraped off. Then I'll let you jump into this boat. So this was a very interesting trickery. He was a trickster by which he could trick Sri Ram in collecting all the foot dust. And then he still didn't, he still acted as if he was not convinced. He told Sri Ram, oh, now all the dust has been taken, but there'll be still some finer dust, which will go away only by washing with water. So first he got the foot dust of Sri Ramachandra. Then with water, he got the Charanamrit of Sri Ram. And he distributed it far and wide, and then he took Ram on the boat across. So in this way, this is the power of the dust of the lotus feet of Sri Ramachandra. When Goswami Tulsidas and Goswami Surdas were sitting together and discussing, Surdas was Krishna Bhakta, Tulsidas was Rama Bhakta, and they were discussing between themselves many beautiful pastimes of Rama and Krishna. At that time, Surdas, being netrahin, being blind, he could just hear, but he could not see. So he heard the trumpet sound of the herd of elephants. And he asked Tulsidas ji that I can hear elephants. Where are they? Tulsidas said, Goswami Tulsidas said, oh, actually a herd of elephants have come very close, and they have bathed in the water, and they're coming out and throwing dust on themselves. So, you know, Kwachinya vartate abhadrat kwachit charati tat punaha prayaschittam athopartham manye kunjara shauchavat. This Bhagavatam also says that when elephants bathe in the holy water, they feel very cold, and they come out and throw dust on their body to make themselves very peaceful, to control to reduce the shivering mentality of feeling very cold. They can coat themselves with dust. So he was mentioning that this is what they're doing. So Surdas ji laughed and chuckled. And he said, what do you think your heart is saying? What is the actual reason why the elephants are doing this? And Goswami Tulsidas ji laughed, and he said, actually, the actual reason why they're doing this is, I think the herd of elephants have heard the story of Ahalya and the power of Sri Ramchandra's foot dust. And I think they would be convinced that Sri Ram has walked through this place. So they're rolling in that dust and throwing that dust, thinking, if one of those dust particles can come to our body, may the stone-like elephant forms fall to the ground, and may we get our original spiritual forms, just like Ahalya got hers. So this is very hope-giving for us. The Supreme Lord gives his mercy in the sixth way by letting us overcome our stone heart mentality and reviving our original self-realized form, spiritual identity. The sixth example that Kuresh, the disciple of Ramanujacharya, explains is Aganita Shreya Pada Prapanat, that he offers unlimited material opulence if the devotee sincerely desires and if he's capable enough of putting it into the Lord's service. So, of course, we know Krishna can take away also. Yasyaham anugrihnami harishyeta dhanam shanai. Krishna has mentioned that I will take away wealth from those whom I favor. This is true. He took away everything from Bali Maharaj as Vaman Dev. But at the same time, he also gave that wealth back to Sudama. He took it from Bali Maharaj and he gave it to Sudama. So when the devotee lacks something in bhakti, and if he can do better by possessing it in the process of bhakti, Krishna will give it also. It's not that Krishna always takes away wealth. If that wealth is a hurdle on the path of bhakti, then he will take it away. But if the devotee can very nicely, in his aristocratic position, employ that wealth in the service of Krishna, then Krishna will give wealth because he knows that that devotee will use it properly. Like Yudhishthir Maharaj was very wealthy. Ambarish Maharaj was very wealthy. Pundarik Vidyanidhi was very wealthy and very opulent. But that doesn't mean they were not spiritually high class. So here Dhruva Maharaj is the example. Sthanabhilashi tapasi sthitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam kachan vichinvan api divyaratnam swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. Dhruva Maharaj said, my Lord, I stood in this forest for 6 months waiting to see you so that from you I can ask a kingdom bigger than my father, grandfather and great-grandfather. I want the biggest palace possible, the biggest kingdom possible. Ganita Shreya. But my Lord, now that I have found you, you are like such a blue sapphire touchstone that by looking at you, I feel what I came to ask you is like broken pieces of glass. Dhruva Maharaj says, I came into this forest looking for broken pieces of glass, but standing before me is a Ratnam, Api Divya Ratnam. Kachan vichinvan. In Hindi we say kach, which means glass. I came here for broken pieces of kach. But my Lord, Api Divya Ratnam, you are so kind that instead of giving me that kach, you gave yourself to me. This is very interesting. Even in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that anyone who ama bhaje vishay mage e bada murkh, anyone who comes to me and begs for material happiness is actually very foolish. What do? Ami vidnya e murkhe vishay kene diba, nija charanamrita diya vishay bhulaiba. When someone comes and asks me for material things, Krishna is saying, Mahaprabhu is saying, what do? Instead of giving him that material thing, I give myself to him. And when I give myself to him, he forgets what to ask. He forgets what to ask. I give myself. So this is the mercy of the Supreme Lord. He can give material things, and in the process of giving those material things, material opulences, he ends up giving himself. So these are the 6 examples. The example for this is Dhruva. So Kuresh is saying Vatsalya through affection, Prahlad, through fearlessness, Vibhishan, through taking away Artharthi, Nirvapanat, by taking distress, by taking suffering away. The example is Gajendra. Audarya, by the melting of his heart, he wants to compassionately embrace the devotee, Draupadi. 5th, by taking away sins, Ahalya. And 6th, by giving away all material opulence, unlimited material opulence, by calling a Dhruva pole star. The example is Dhruva. So therefore, Kuresh is saying in the 3rd line, Sevyaha Shripatireva Sarva Jagatam Ete cha Shat Sakshinaha. Just to prove these 6 ways of affection that the Supreme Lord showers his mercy, these are the 6 Sakshi, these are the 6 devotees. And therefore, the conclusion is Sevyaha Shripatireva Sarva Jagatam. It's interesting. After glorifying the Supreme Lord to such an extent, the word Kuresh uses is Shripati. He is merciful. Who is merciful? The husband of goddess of fortune is very merciful. So Sevyaha, he is worshipable. For whom? Sarva Jagatam. The whole world should worship such a master who is so merciful, who showers his mercy in 6 ways, prominent ways. And these 6 devotees stand as shining examples to prove that point. Therefore, the whole world must surrender to him and serve him. He is worthy of everybody's service. It's interesting. What word of the Supreme Lord is being used? Shripati, which means that Vishnu or that Sri Hari, that Sri Ram, that Sri Krishna, who is the husband of goddess of fortune. Why is Quraysh saying this point? It's very, very interesting, because Quraysh is making this point to mention to all of us that the Supreme Lord is merciful because he possesses a very powerful source of mercy, that is Shri, the goddess of fortune. Vishnu is busy sleeping, but where is that mercy coming from? Coming from his heart. And who is there on his heart? In the form of the golden strand of hair, in the form of the Srivatsa mark, Lakshmi resides in his chest. So the mercy comes from the chest, from the heart. And who is residing there? Lakshmi is residing. Therefore, Vishnu is all merciful because he possesses the strength of mercy which is coming from Lakshmi. Ram is very merciful. Why? Because he is the Lord of the goddess of fortune, Mother Sita. Krishna is very merciful. Why? Because he possesses the property, the proprietorship over his eternal consort, Srimati Radharani. The example is very easy. Imagine if there is someone who has a sharp arrow. If he has to throw the arrow, now I'm talking not of a dart, I'm talking of an arrow, very sharp arrow. If he throws the arrow may not go very far away. But if he strings it onto his bow and uses his strength to pull it to his ear and then, leaves and shoots the arrow goes far distant and hits the point. In the first example, when you throw the arrow, at that time also the arrow is very sharp, and this time also the arrow is very sharp. But the difference is when you throw, the energy used is less. The focus is less. But here the energy used is very high class. And when the string swings, the arrow goes very fast and hits the point. So the mercy arrow comes from the Supreme Lord. But the energy with which this mercy arrow is thrown is that energetic potency, that pleasure potency, that goddess of fortune, which is his eternal consort. Therefore, we can understand that the Supreme Lord is always shooting arrows of mercy. That mercy by default is a very sharp arrow which can reach the target. But the energy with which he shoots those arrows to go straight into the heart, into the lives of the devotees, that is partially his glory, but majority glory is that of the energy. Imagine someone may have a very wonderful bow, may be a very good archer, may have very sharp arrows, but if he's weak and he's without energy, he can't shoot them. But on the other hand, if he has energy, even if the arrow is not very sharp, still it travels a far distant. So similarly, the Supreme Lord showers his arrows of mercy in this world. In these 6 ways, we understand he's merciful. But that mercy comes from his energy. That is Lakshmi Devi for Vishnu, Mother Sita for Ramachandra, and Srimati Radharani for Sri Krishna. This is why in the Venkateshwara Suprabhatam, we see the Supreme Lord is called Venkata Achalapati. Venkata, very interesting name. In South India, many of them have the name Venkata. Venkatachala means the Venkata Parvat. Achala means mountain, and Pati means Lord. He who is the Lord of the Venkata mountains. But what does the word Venkata mean? Sarva papani ven prahur. The word ven means sins, and kata means to cut. So he who can cut through all of our sins is called Venkat. But in that Venkateshwara Suprabhatam, it has been described. Where does he get his power to cut through the sins of his devotees? He gets it from Lakshmi Devi. How wonderful is that? Vishnu gets his power to cut through all the sins of living beings from Lakshmi Devi. Where is the Praman? Ishanam jagatosya venkatapate Vishnu param preyasim tadvakshasthala nityavasa rasikam tatshanti samvardhini padmalankrita pani pallava yugam padmasanastham shriyam vatsalyadi gunojwalam bhagavati vande jaganmataram. What does this mean? Ishanam jagatosya venkatapati. The Supreme Lord would be the Lord of all the demigods, no problem. But who is controlling him? Vishnu param preyasim. That preyasi is Lakshmi Devi. And therefore, she who massages his lotus feet has climbed up the feet, and Tad Vakshasthala Nityavasa is now happily residing in his chest, in his heart, has controlled his heart. Nityavasa Rasikam, in a very wonderful way. And Tat Kshanti Samvardhanim, she's increasing all the qualities of Vishnu. So all the merciful nature of Vishnu is being pumped in by Lakshmi, who's sitting on the heart. And how is she? Padma Lankrita. She has Alankrita. She is Alankrit, completely decorated with lotus flower garlands. Lotus represents happiness, prosperity, and protection, and motherly love. So Padma Alankrita, she has garlands of lotus flower, and Padma Alankrita Pani Pallava Yugam. In her hand also she has lotus flowers. And not just that, Padmasanastham Shriyam. She's also sitting on lotus flowers. So how many lotuses? Lotus is a very interesting flower. It is found in a muddy pool. What does that mean? The muddy pool of this material world is where the lotus of Lakshmi Devi's mercy sprouts. Therefore, Vatsalya Adi Guna Ujjwalam Bhagavatim. She predominantly dominates over the quality of Vatsalyam. You see, Vatsalyadi Guna Ujjwalam. She shines with that quality of Vatsalyam, of motherly affection. Therefore, Vande Jagan Mataram. Oh, she is the mother of the whole world. How wonderful. Lakshmi Devi is the one who gives that merciful nature to Vishnu. But now here is an interesting thing. Lakshmi is very merciful. Mother Sita is very merciful. Durga Devi is very merciful. Parvati is very merciful. Annapurna is very merciful. Saraswati Devi is very merciful. They're all very, very merciful consorts of different powers or different incarnations of the Supreme Lord. But Shastra says, Devi Krishnamai Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarva Kanti Sammohinim Param. That all of these goddesses of fortune, whether it is innumerable Lakshmis, whether it is innumerable Mother Sitas, innumerable manifestations of this material creation, all the Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, all the different expansions found in this world, they all originate ultimately from Srimati Radharani. Just like Ete Chamsa Kalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Redayanti Yuge Yuge. Just like we understand that all the incarnations of Vishnu Tattva, they manifest from Sri Krishna. So therefore, who's most merciful? Krishna is most merciful. Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam jigam saya payedapya sadvi lebhe gatim dhatrim uchitam tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam vrajema. No incarnation of the Supreme Lord you see where poison was given to the Supreme Lord. You will never find. In Prahlad and Narasimha, the poison was given to the devotee. You see the poison, again in the churning of the milk ocean, as far as Vishnu is concerned, poison is going to Lord Shiva. But here in Krishna Leela, when Putana comes, the nature of the Supreme Lord's heart is such that no devotee will accept the poison. I will accept the poison smeared on the chest of Putana when I'm only 6 days old. I, who's filled with 6 opulences, I can, on my 6th day, swallow all the poison. Not just that, I will liberate Putana and give her the status of Mother Yashoda. So this conversion, this profit margin, this input and output analysis has never been seen in any incarnation of bringing in poison to serve the Lord and taking back the nectar of Vatsalya Prem in Goloka Vrindavan. This conversion has not been seen by the mercy of any incarnation. Just like Krishna is the root of all incarnations, he is the most merciful from where all incarnations get their mercy. Similarly, the eternal goddesses of fortune of all of these incarnations, they originate from Srimati Radharani. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shaktiman, Dui Vastu Bhed Nahi Shastrera Praman. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Ramchandra is also Shaktiman, Narasimhadev is also Shaktiman, Vishnu Varahadev is also Shaktiman, but who is Krishna? Krishna Purna Shaktiman. He is the one who is most powerful, most energetic, most merciful. And all the Shaktis, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Sita, Parvati, they are also very merciful. But all these Shaktis originate from Radha Purna Shakti, from Radharani. Radharani is the origin for all the mothers of this world. Therefore, her heart is the most merciful. Is so merciful that Krishna, who stands next to Radharani, he also becomes very merciful. You see, when Krishna goes outside of Vrindavan, he is busy killing. He is killing everybody outside of Vrindavan, and he is always battling. He's always fighting. But when he's standing next to Radharani, he's playing the flute, and he's running behind cows, and he's sitting on the branch of the tree, and he's swimming in the water and climbing the Govardhan. So Krishna is very happy. That merciful nature, that joyful nature comes because he's standing next to Radharani. Like that. Therefore, the parrots of Vrindavan, they also argue. There's a Krishna side parrot and there's a Radharani side parrot. And Shuka bole Amar Krishna Jagato Jivan. Shuka, as the parrot said, my Krishna is the life of the whole world. And Sari boli Amar Radha Jivanero Jivan. Don't be so proud that your Krishna is the life of the whole creation. My Radhika, my Radharani is the life of your Krishna. Shuka bole Amar Krishna Jagatero Guru. Shuka said, my Krishna is the spiritual master for the whole world. Sari boli Amar Radha Vancha Kalpataru. Don't forget that my Radharani is a wish-fulfilling tree under the shade of which Krishna came and begged, oh, may I become Jagat Guru. And Radharani said, okay, she offered her blessings. And therefore, Krishna got all his desires fulfilled. In this way, even the parrots go back and forth, crying out the names of Radha and Krishna. So Radharani is the root of all Shaktis. She is the origin for all merciful natures in this world. So just like Lakshmi makes Narayan more merciful, and she is the one who brings in that mercy, Mother Sita brings in the mercy for Ram. How do we understand? She's more merciful than Ram. You see, when Hanuman became the messenger for Ramchandra and went from this side towards Mother Sita, he had to face so many obstacles on his flight over the ocean, and he ended up getting his tail burnt in Lanka. So when he became the Doot, the messenger for Ramchandra, his tail got burnt. But when he came from the other side and he became the messenger for Mother Sita, he didn't face any obstacle on the ocean. He didn't burn his tail. Instead, here he got the embrace of Sri Ram. So if you go from Ram's side without Mother Sita, even if you're Hanuman, your tail will be burnt. But if you go from Mother Sita's side towards Sri Ram, even if you're a monkey, you will be embraced. So in this way, by Mother Sita's affectionate nature, Ram becomes very merciful. So, but all of this originates in Srimati Radharani. She is the most merciful nature. Radharani is the Ladini Shakti for Krishna. And therefore, if Krishna is merciful, that is because of Srimati Radharani. No one more merciful than Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes in a purport that Radharani is the most compassionate mother of the whole creation. Therefore, on Radhastami, this is also an act of mercy. Why? Because we, as the eternal jivas, the eternal children of Radha and Krishna, we are stuck in this material world. This material world is called external energy, and Radharani is internal energy. So internal energy lives in the internal world, Golok. External energy pervades over the external world here. But Radhastami is the most powerful tithi when the internal energy jumps into the external energy to save the jivas. It is like a scorpion who has fallen into the water, and a sadhu puts his hand to pull that scorpion out. He does not have to, but he feels that the scorpion is in the water and he may not be able to come out. So let me put my hand in and let me pull this scorpion out. Or if the scorpion is fallen in a pit, let me pull that scorpion out. And the scorpion may end up stinging the sadhu, and the sadhu is shouting in pain. But then again he puts his hand to help. And the onlookers may say, oh, you're putting your hand again and again to pull that scorpion out, but the scorpion is stinging you. Why are you putting your hand in again and again? And the sadhu smiles and he says, when the scorpion does not leave his nature, why should I leave mine? This is the merciful nature of the sadhu. He's ready to be bitten, but he's ready to save the scorpion. We see devotees in this world. They have this compassionate nature of para dukkha dukkhi. They're preaching far and wide so that everybody can be out of their illusion. They can be out of the pit of Maya and come out in the realm of happiness. Therefore, the sadhus have to take so much hardship Haridas Thakur was ready to be beaten in 22 marketplaces for preaching. Jesus Christ was ready to be crucified for preaching. Prabhupada was ready to take 2 heart attacks on the Jaladuta and suffer so much, especially in the building of the Radharas Bihari temple in Hare Krishna land, Juhu. So much. Prabhupada's typewriter being stolen, his first Bhagavad Gita manuscript being stolen, money being stolen, people with ill intentions coming, governments putting devotees behind bars. Prabhupada in his ripe old age had to suffer so much, but he did that out of his compassionate nature. So where is the origin for all of Haridas Thakur and Jesus Christ and Prabhupada's compassion to save others? It is coming from Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is that most merciful sadhvi who is jumping, being the internal energy of the Supreme Lord, is jumping into the external energy to pull the jivas out. She's like that sadhu or that sadhvi who's putting her hand into this world to pull the scorpions of this world out. And we are busy criticizing Krishna and doubting Radharani's character. So we are like those scorpions biting. But still, Srimati Radharani as the Supreme Mother, she's trying to pull us out. So therefore, on the day of Radhastami, it's the day to pray to Krishna, who is merciful, but to pray to Srimati Radharani, who is more merciful than Krishna, who is giving Krishna that nature of being merciful. This is why all of our acharyas, they were on the Radha Paksha. They were Radhavadi. They were on the side of Srimati Radharani. We see Bhaktivinoda Thakur writing songs. Ramani, Shiromani, Vrishabhanu Nandini. Oh, daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, you are the most attractive, most merciful girl in the whole of Vrindavan. And at the same time, next after that is Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who had no possessions in this world, but he's crying, Kotha go prema mai, Radhe Radhe, Vrindavaneshwari Radhe Radhe, Ashta Sakhi Shiromani Radhe Radhe, Krishna Manamohini Radhe Radhe. Oh, Kotha go prema mai, Radhe Radhe. Where is that most merciful Radharani gone? Why is it that I am not able to take shelter of her lotus feet? Similarly, Raghunath Das Goswami also cried, Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vidnyaya devi tvam nayamam charanantikam. Which means, Tava eva asmi, I belong only to you, I belong only to you, na jivami tvaya vina, I cannot live without you. Iti vidnyaya devi tvam. Oh Radharani, understanding this, nayamam charanantike, please bring me to your lotus feet. Raghunath Das Goswami has also sung, Bhajami Radha Maravinda Netram Smarami Radha Madhura Smitasyam Vadami Radha Karuna Bharadram Tatho Mamanyasti Gati Nakapi. What does this mean? This verse is very beautiful. Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram. I do the bhajan. I worship Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram. Her big, long, sweet, beautiful, graceful eyes, which are very big. And the eyes are moving left, right, very restless, like the eyes of a deer. Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram. And Smarami, I remember, Smarami Radham Madhura Smitasyam. I am remembering the soft smile of Srimati Radharani's innocent face. And Vadami, and I'm speaking. Vadami Radham Karuna Bharadram. I am continuously speaking the nature of Radharani's merciful heart. Tatho mama anyasti gati nakapi. Therefore, I don't have anya gati. I don't have anyone else except Srimati Radharani who can help me. I cannot approach Krishna. Krishna is, he's working on justice. But Radharani is the mother. Radharani is always shielding the child as the mother shields the child from the stick of the father. So Radharani is like that. Similarly, coming down the parampara, our Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada also, we can see that in one assembly, Radharani's identity was being challenged. Lakshmi was being glorified and Radharani's character was being put down. And Saraswati Thakur was in a dilemma. He wanted to fire and give praman for Radharani. But at the same time, he understood that these people in that assembly were not qualified to know because they were in a very challenging spirit. So Saraswati Thakur wanted to share about Radharani with so much intensity and to cut through all their arguments. But at the same time, he understood that they were unqualified. But if he keeps quiet, he's hearing all this blasphemy. And if he speaks, he understands he's putting Radharani out. It's like showing a pearl necklace in front of the monkey in Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, you see the monkeys and you hide the pearl necklace. You don't show it to them. You may have it, but you hide it. That's intelligence. So Saraswati Thakur saw that they were all like monkeys, and the tattva of Radharani was like more valuable than pearl necklace. So instead of putting it out to them, he hid them. But the more he was hiding, the more he was hearing this. So Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhavam, this very beautiful book by Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, it describes that in this dilemma of should I speak or shouldn't I speak? If I speak, I'm putting Radharani out cheaply in public. But if I don't speak, I'm hearing all this. In this dilemma, Saraswati Thakur fainted on the stage out of his deep attachment to Srimati Radharani. And also coming down the parampara, we see our very beloved founder Acharya Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When he was a child, his father Gaur Mohan De would beg all the sadhus that you please bless my child, not so that he becomes a devotee of Krishna, but Gaur Mohan De, the worshipable, the respected father of Srila Prabhupada, begged all the visiting sadhus in their home that you please bless my Abhay Charan, that in the future he becomes a very, very dear devotee of Srimati Radharani. So therefore, our Prabhupada, by being a very dear associate of Srimati Radharani, spread the glories of Krishna far and wide. Being the associate of Radharani, what pleases Radharani is when the names of Krishna are spread far and wide in this world. So Srila Prabhupada did that in many, many ways. He established deities of Krishna and everyone worshipping Krishna, and Radharani is very happy. At the same time, he spread the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. He spread the worship of Tulsi, who can benedict everyone. Krishna Bhakti. He gave the association of devotees. And most importantly, Srila Prabhupada distributed Krishna and gave pleasure to Radharani by printing and spreading the glorious work Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the Vangmay Swarup, is the form of Sri Krishna through the 12 cantos. So anyone who reads the Srimad Bhagavatam, remembers the Srimad Bhagavatam, hears the Srimad Bhagavatam, speaks the Srimad Bhagavatam, studies the Srimad Bhagavatam, they are associating with Krishna. And the more you associate with Krishna, Radharani is happy. The more she is pleased, the more mercy and the more affectionate embrace of motherly affection she will shower on the jivas and offer those jivas at the lotus feet of Krishna. So this is a very wonderful occasion of Radhastami where we can ponder upon pleasing Srimati Radharani by taking shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books. Now, just a week from now, we are celebrating Bhadra Purnima, and the Bhagavatam describes on the day of Bhadra Purnima, if you give in charity a Srimad Bhagavatam set, then you have confirmed your seat in going back home, back to Godhead, to Goloka Vrindavan. So for those who don't have Srimad Bhagavatam, please kindly contact Harikshetra Prabhu and Kartikeya Prabhu and get yourself more Srimad Bhagavatam copies. And for those living in other places, you're joining from other places outside Bangalore, you can connect to your local ISKCON centers, and please try to have as many Srimad Bhagavatam sets purchased and distributed and sponsored and read and spoken and remembered and heard about. Because the more we distribute this literature, not just in copy, but also the content of the scripture in the form of preaching, the more we speak about Srimad Bhagavatam, we are pleasing Srimati Radharani, we are pleasing Srila Prabhupada, and this is a sure short way to get to the lotus feet of Krishna. So on this Radhastami, I want to wish all of you all the very best in your spiritual life. May Srimati Radharani shower supreme, glorious, all protective, auspicious mercy on all of you. And may your taste for Krishna Katha and Krishna Bhakti increase. And may your lives be offerings at the service of Srila Prabhupada's glorious preaching mission in spreading the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So at this point, I want to offer my gratitude to His Grace Kartikeya Prabhu and His Grace Harikshetra Prabhu for kindly engaging me in this service. I am utterly unqualified, useless person, but you are very kind to accept me. Kartikeya Prabhu, I am very, very proud of you. Very, very proud. Every time I remember you, I only get smile, and my heart, my consciousness beams in joy. Kartikeya Prabhu has not just been a very good student academically, He has been a very nice, shining example of how devotees must be. Now he has given his life completely dedicated as a brahmachari at the Whitefield Center, assisting our very dear Harikshetra Prabhu in the preaching endeavor there. So I wish Kartikeya Prabhu all the very best from my heart. May my very dear Bhanunandini Sri Krishna bless you, bless Harikshetra Prabhu, bless your center, and may all the devotees who are participating in this call, may all of you be, not just why only this call also, and those who are not on this call also, may all of you be touched by the very merciful moonbeams of my Bhanunandini's mercy. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for such a nectarian class, as always, as always. So, Prabhuji, would you like to take some questions now?
Sure, we can.
Okay. So, there's one question which from Moksha Thakkar. So, he's asking Hare Krishna, Shatakoti Dandavat Pranam, Amarendra Prabhuji and all Vaishnavas. Why we are observing half-day fast for Radharani? Why not full-day fast or Nirjal as on Krishna Janmashtami?
Actually, it is interesting that in other streams of the Gaudiya Parampara, like the Gaudiya Mutt, they follow full fast. They follow full fast on all Vishnu Tattvas. Whether it is Krishna Janmashtami, Narsingha Chaturdashi, Gaur Purnima, Radhastami, Ram Navami, etc. But our Srila Prabhupada is very kind. Very kind. He understands that the main reason we are at the feet of Sri Krishna is because of Bhagavat Mahaprasad. If that is also stopped, then we may stop our services to Krishna. So Prabhupada kept it very simple. He explained that Radharani opened her eyes and saw Krishna when it was noon. Radharani appeared, but it is described that Radharani kept her eyes closed. But she opened her eyes when it was noon and she saw Sri Krishna. So the time when she opened her eyes and saw Krishna is the time we can open our eyes and see Krishna in our life in the form of Bhagavad Mahaprasad. So therefore, Ram Navami, Ram appeared during noon. So therefore, Prabhupada made it till noon. For Narsingha Dev, he appeared in dusk. So Prabhupada kept it till dusk. For Gaur Purnima, Mahaprabhu appeared when the moon rose. Akalanka Gaura, what is that? Nice verse. Akalanka Gaura Chandra Dila Darashana, Sa Kalanka Chandra Deva Kona Prayojana. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, when the spotless moon of Gaura Chandra gave darshan, what is the need of watching this moon with spots? Akalanka Gaura Chandra Dila Darashana, Sa Kalanka Chandra Deva Kona Prayojan. What is the use of this moon? So it got eclipsed. So anyway, when the moon rose, that's when Gaura Chandra appeared. So till then, and Krishna Chandra appeared at night. So therefore we fast till night. So Prabhupada made it till very simple. He said the time when the avatar appears, till then you fast, then you feast and you enjoy, you sing and dance more. Don't be tired without food and sleeping on the bed to compensate that energy. Instead, you can have little, no problem. It doesn't have to be all the time nirjal, nirjal, nirjal. Shushka tapasya is one path, but it cannot give Krishna. But if you're so engaged in hearing, chanting, doing kirtan and preaching that you don't have time to eat, that is the ideal fast. But if you're fasting and then watching television so that bara kab bajega, then there is no point. Instead you can have some fruits and chant and dance like that.
So, Prabhuji, there's one question on the YouTube. So, here the question says, though we know Radha is way more higher than Lakshmi's position, how does she get the fortune of being on Lord Krishna's chest than that Srimati Radharani doesn't?
Oh, who said Radharani doesn't? Radharani is always in the heart of Krishna. Shamananda Ridananda Vrindaranya Purandaram Radha Bhushita Vamangam Namami Shama Sundaram. Radha Bhushita Vamangam means that Radharani who is always sporting in the chest of Krishna and who appears from the left side in the heart of Krishna. I bow down to that Sham Sundar on whose left side is the heart where Radharani resides. So therefore, because she is residing, I offer obeisances to Sham Sundar. This is what the verse says. So she is always Vakshasthale Nivasini.
There was few more questions, Prabhu, but then in this ocean of comments, I think we have missed. Okay.
And I think I also see some questions like, why did Krishna create this material world, etc. For that, I think you have to join Kartikeya Prabhu's Journey of Self-Discovery course, and also the Gita course. That day I was hearing one of Kartikeya Prabhu's nice classes. He was explaining Gita, and he was explaining the example of the train and the light, Brahman Paramatma Bhagavan. Very wonderful. So if you join the Whitefield Center, or which, if you're in Bangalore or if you're in other city, you can join the local temple. Then you will systematically learn with PowerPoint presentations why Krishna created this world.
Pro, one question: how to balance our reading of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Krishna Katha, or some other books, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, Acharya's pastimes, fail to read all. How to balance? This is the question.
Actually, my understanding is it always helps me also like that devotees generally get into this habit of reading bit of many books, and then they end up not reading anything completely. So they'll start a bit of Krishna book in the morning, and they'll start with a little bit of Bhagavad Gita in the afternoon, little bit of Bhagavatam in the evening, little bit of Ishopanishad at night, and reading Ishopanishad, they go to sleep. So they read, they'll read little, and not finish anything. Of course, you're able to finish, that's wonderful. But if you're not able to, then that's not good. So instead, I would say you take one book and study that book well. And then you move to the next book. And don't worry about finishing all the books. Prabhupada has given Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you can finish them, all the small books are included. Or if you're just starting to read, then read the smaller books of Prabhupada, one after another. Don't take all of these big tasks on your head. Even in the management schools, they talk about breaking down the projects into smaller chunks. You have the long-term goal and the short-term goal. So your short-term goal should be, in this month, I should finish this book. In this month, I should finish this book. Then in this month, I should finish this book. And your long-term goal should be, in 6 months, I should finish these 6-7 books. But if you think about those 6-7 books right now, you will not be able to finish any. So take one book at a time, study it nicely, hear classes regarding those books, read more information about that book, discuss with devotees about that book, share your classes about that book. So always be absorbed. If it is going to be Gajendra, just be absorbed in Gajendra for about 2 months, no problem. Read verse by verse, translation, purport, memorize the important verses. If you have access to the commentaries of the Acharyas, just read Gajendra. Hear classes also regarding Gajendra and add it into your notes. And when you give classes also, share from your notes. So the more you speak of what you're reading and hearing, the deeper it goes within. Once Gajendra is done, you can take a Prahlad or Dhruva or Ambarish Maharaj. And then what happens is, when you study Ambarish, then some points from Gajendra will overflow and spill over your study of Ambarish. And then when you're speaking in your class about Ambarish, automatically the mind will map it to Gajendra, and you will be able to share that also. So don't worry. Page by page, we become a sage. We escape the cage before we age. So don't worry.
So, Prabhuji, we can take a few more questions, or you had told me that you have got another class now at...
I have another class in 1 hour.
Okay.
So maybe I can take 2 more questions.
Okay. So there's one question about Radharani. Why Radharani don't show possessiveness towards Krishna? How is she allowing all gopis to get Krishna's love?
This is the nature of mercy. This is the nature of mercy. Radharani's love is such that she forgets her transcendental preeminence. She's so selfless. It is like salt. You see, when you cook, salt cannot be seen. Salt is ready to add taste to other preparation, other ingredients in your food, but the salt is not seen. The salt is so happy in just increasing the taste of the preparation that even if I am not found, that is okay. So if insignificant Tata Namak in this world can have this quality, why not Srimati Radharani? She forgets her transcendental preeminence, and she finds more joy in connecting others to Sri Krishna. Just like the preachers of this world. They can be busy in one room, studying and hearing and chanting. But they feel so happy when more and more jivas come and they put tilak and kantimala and start reading and hearing and chanting. They feel, oh, this is so wonderful. Instead of chanting 32 rounds, if I chant 25 rounds, and remaining 9 rounds time, if I speak Hari Katha and inspire somebody to come to devotion and they start chanting 16 rounds, I feel so happy. So where are we getting that quality of forgetting ourselves and dissolving ourselves and letting others come to Krishna? It comes from Srimati Radharani. So more there is love for Krishna, you want everyone to come to that Krishna who is so dear to you, like that. And Radharani gets more happiness in connecting people to Krishna than she herself being connected to Krishna. This is why in all of our temples, you see, Prabhupada gave standard pose to Srimati Radharani. Either she is holding a bouquet in her hand, a flower in her hand, or she is offering blessings, or she's offering a garland. What does that mean? We can offer a flower in the hand of Radharani and she will offer it on our behalf to Krishna. We can offer a garland in the hand of Radharani and she will offer it on behalf of us to Krishna. And in return, when Krishna is happy, she is ready to bless us. So see how selfless. She is taking our garland, giving it to Krishna, giving Krishna pleasure. And when Krishna is ready to bless her, she is giving that pleasure to the Jiva, being completely selfless. This is why we worship Radharani on the altar. So that, oh Radharani, Krishna will not listen to me. But since your nature is to connect me to Krishna, I will be very grateful if I can offer some service. This is why Prabhupada, when he gave Radhastami class, the title he offered was, Oh Radharani, please tell your Krishna something about me. This is the nature of Radharani's love. If she was so possessive about Krishna that apart from me, nobody comes to Krishna, then why even keep her on the altar with hand like this? She can keep hand like this only. That I will bless myself, that may I be with Krishna and nobody else. Curtain will be closed all the time. Hey, don't come between me and Krishna. Curtain is always open. You see how many hours it is closed? Only for 5 hours at night and 1 hour in the, or 5-6 hours at night and 1 hour in the afternoon. But remaining 18 hours, 17 hours open, which means Radharani takes 6 hours of the day for her service to Krishna and remaining 18 hours in connecting jivas to Krishna. This is the nature of her love.
Yeah. One more question, Prabhuji. When you mentioned that war between Gajendra and crocodile lasted for so many years, and then at last, finally, Gajendra remembering the Lord, why we, even after knowing this, wait for last moment to pray, and how to come out of this mentality?
By hearing the pastime of Gajendra.
Yeah.
By hearing the pastime of Gajendra, we can wake up that I am also like Gajendra. You see, it's interesting. Gajendra's story is very interesting. He was the king of elephants, very powerful, very young. He had female elephants around. He had, and it's a heavenly pastime, by the way. This pastime of Gajendra did not happen in Shani Shignapur. It happened in the heavenly kingdom. It did not happen in this material world. It happened in the heavenly kingdom, celestial beings. So very beautiful form, young form, strong form, and he could give protection to others. Bhagavatam describes lions were running away in the fear of Gajendra. And he had so many female elephants and other male friends and children also. And they were all eating whatever they could and nice, fragrant, aromatic flowers in the water ponds. Shukdev Goswami describes the Trikuta mountain very beautifully. The mountains are emanating emeralds and different pearls, and milk ocean is washing the feet of this Trikuta, and Gajendra is sporting. But amidst all of this also, an insignificant unseen crocodile underwater comes and catches when Gajendra goes to enjoy. So what this means is, this means that we are all like Gajendra. We could be very strong, very young, very youthful, very influential, very beautiful, with female associates, with children, nice food to eat, nice aroma, nice home. We could have all of that, and when we could go into the water to enjoy a little more, that's when the unseen crocodile comes out and bites. Now, Gajendra fights the crocodile for 10,000 celestial years and does not remember to call the Supreme Lord. So similarly, we for more than 10,000 celestial years, we have been fighting the crocodile, unseen crocodile in this world, and we have forgotten Krishna. But then what happens? Because Gajendra has performed bhajan in his previous life as King Indradyumna, the Supreme Lord as Paramatma, Neha Bhikramanashosti Pratyavayona Vidyate Swalpamapyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bhayat, inspires King Indradyumna in the form of Gajendra, all those verses that he chanted in his previous life, which means whatever we perform in our previous lives never go a waste. We as Gajendras can forget our past, but Krishna as the Supreme Lord does not forget the prayers that we have offered. So similarly, we may have fought the crocodile of material nature for quite some time, but then we have some preachers, some guru, some books, some nice touch with the devotees, which is like the spark. Oh, eureka moment. Naturally to me. Prabhupada said, how is it otherwise possible that Western-bodied boys and girls can give up everything and become so dear to Prabhupada, shaving their head and dhoti and kurta and chanting on the streets? It's not natural in their culture, but they're like Gajendras. In their past life, they may have performed. And just that touch with Prabhupada inspired that nature to come out. So similarly, by some interaction with devotees in this world, our Indradyumna-like past can come out, even in the Gajendra-like bodies of the present. So by hearing about Gajendra, by associating with the devotees, that inner inclination will come out, and then the chakra of Krishna's mercy will cut the material nature. Mama maya duratyaya, mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So that crocodile will be destroyed, and then we in our original form, we can sit on the back of Garuda with our Supreme Lord double seat and go back home, back to Godhead.
Jai. Prabhuji, there are lots of comments in the chat box where devotees are praying for you. They're offering their blessings, and they're appreciating your class. And some devotee, and there's one request. I don't know if this is possible, Prabhu. Last year, Bhanu Nandini Sri Krishna were here. So we have a devotee asking, can we get their darshan? Is it possible? Are you there?
Actually, Bhanu Nandini is sitting up.
Oh,
and
okay.
I am in the basement.
Oh, okay.
So I will have to take my laptop with the charger and all of that, walk up and then go and take darshan. But what I could do is I could send you a picture, and those who are interested, you can share the picture with them.
Sure,
Bhanu Nandini is looking very beautiful on her appearance day today.
Nice.
She's sitting, ruling over Krishna's heart, Sri Krishna's heart. Sri Krishna's almost fallen behind, looking at her.
So, thank you very much, Prabhuji. This is really a great opportunity to hear you. This is the second time. Normally, once in a year, we get the chance to hear. But by the mercy of COVID, we have got it second time this time. So thank you very much. I request all the devotees that let's pray for His Grace Amarendra Prabhu, so that he remains always protected, always healthy, and the Lord empowers him more and more so that he can fulfill the desire of a spiritual master of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, especially the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, praying for His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Please grace our center more often this year, if it's possible.
With the COVID, I think everything is on a standstill. So the good thing is we all can connect more often virtually than physically. So whenever I am available and whenever it suits your calendar, I will be very happy to serve.
Sure, Prabhuji. Sure.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Prabhuji.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Radhastami. So all the devotees who are interested to gift Srimad Bhagavatam on this auspicious day of Bhadra Purnima, I am posting a form here, so you can register for that. And surely, as Amarendra Prabhu said, the ticket to back home, will be fixed, for the devotees who are gifting. And also, this gift from your side will be given to sincere devotees who are practicing bhakti very nicely. So this will be a very nice opportunity to help the sincere devotees, to take up Krishna consciousness more seriously. Last year, if I'm not wrong, we gifted more than 40 to 50 Srimad Bhagavatam sets to different sincere devotees throughout our congregation. So this time also we want to do something like that. So here is the link. So please register for the same, and the volunteers will get back to you for the different procedures. Even on the YouTube, I've pasted the link. So please go ahead and register for the same. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we end the meeting here. Hare Krishna.